Hello and welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel. I'm back with my colleague Niall O'Connell. We're here. We're in preview mode. Bit of an interesting one tonight, Niall. We've got Dmitry Bivol against the late replacement Malik Zinad for the headline of the Matchroom versus Queensbury 5v5 card. Niall, we'll fly straight into this one. It's an intriguing one, probably for the wrong reasons. In essence, what level of an upset would you consider this to be for Malik Zinad to be beating Dmitry Bivol? He's 22-0. He's got 16 knockouts. He can clearly punch. I've had a look through his record. Don't recognise a single fighter on there. I had to YouTube some clips, managed to find a couple here and there. In terms of, some of the biggest upsets we've seen in boxing, not even just British, in terms of world boxing, where would you actually, obviously on these shows we've seen some massive upsets, but where in terms of sort of the biggest upsets in boxing history would you consider this, and sort of what level would you consider it an upset?
I think it'd have to be right up there with more than likely the biggest upset in our lifetimes. To be honest with you, it'd have to be, and in boxing history, it'd be right up there too. It's hard to kind of discuss this video without sounding disrespectful towards Malik Zinad. Not a lot of people heard of him before this fight was announced, which is crazy. What a drop off from the supposed Beterbiev fight that we were meant to get. Hopefully that's still the case, but yeah, Zinad, a highly underwhelming resume. He is undefeated, 22-0. There has to be something said for that, but he's fought nobody, and he's fought nobody on the same kind of universe as Dmitry Bivol. There's no shame in it. He's gonna get kind of widely outboxed here, but there's no shame in it. We're talking about one of the best fighters on the planet, to be honest with you. But in terms of an upset, my God, it'd be right up there. I was looking at, I know it's not a betting tip show, but I was just looking at odds before we came on here. Bivol is 33-1 on favourite, which is that sums it up. But yeah, it will be the shock of the century, I think, if it was to happen.
Yeah, I was sort of before we come on, I was looking at boxing's biggest upsets. I mean, it's got Buster Douglas, Mike Tyson vibes.
Yeah.
It really has for me. And I believe I found an article that said Buster Douglas was 42-1 around that mark to beat Mike Tyson. So I think when you look at how heavy an odds-on favourite Bivol is, I think it really has to be up there with it. At the time, Buster Douglas, his best win was probably going the distance with Oliver McCall. No disrespect to Oliver McCall, but going into a Mike Tyson fight during Mike Tyson's prime, when he was unbeaten, knocking people out in the first round, is no preparation at all. So I think when you look at this, it is definitely up there. I think, like you say, it's comfortably the biggest upset of our lifetime. But I don't even think, I genuinely can't think of one that would even come close in comparison. I genuinely think it's sort of country miles in between. So it is an intriguing one. I think I sort of already know the aspect and the angle to this question. What if Malik Zinad wins, and it's a big if, obviously, um, how sounds mental asking it, but how does Malik Zinad beat Dmitry Bivol? What would he need to do to beat Dmitry Bivol?
It is a tough question, but he'd need all the stars possible to align, wouldn't he? I think he'd need, first of all, I think he'd need Dmitry Bivol to kind of severely overlook him. But I
Mhm.
don't think that's going to happen because, in my opinion, Dmitry Bivol is not the type of character to overlook anybody, which is a credit to him. We take this as seriously as it can get. But secondly, he'd need to land the famous punch from the gods. He really would. He'd need to knock Dmitry Bivol out. And again, there's no kind of, we're not kind of being too disrespectful in saying that, and that everybody I think that faces Dmitry Bivol will need to knock him out. I don't think anybody had outboxed Dmitry Bivol. Like, I'll say the same when it's Beterbiev Bivol. I'd say Beterbiev needs to stop him. So I do think he needs to knock him out. And he needs to do it early, I think. I think catching Dmitry Bivol cold here would be his best shout. The first three rounds, say maybe. And he can punch, 16 knockouts and 22 wins. He can punch a bit. He has range. He can put, he's a decent combination puncher from what I've seen of him in the footage I've watched, that we've watched in the lead up to this. But yeah, simple as that. I think he needs to catch him cold and he needs to catch him early. But it's very unlikely. And I do think Dmitry Bivol needs to take his eye off this one and look ahead to Beterbiev if Zinad is to have any chance here.
No, I completely agree. I think the only way, even landing that, like you say, landing that punch from the gods, it's probably doing it an injustice because, we've seen Bivol, it was a case of how good he looks. And then when he steps up, is he going to be one of those fighters where you put him in with better opposition and he performs better? He went in with Canelo, far too big, too good for Canelo. Same with Gilberto Ramirez, far too good. So we're seeing him now, even like where he's had to fight mandatory sort of style, Lyndon Arthur, and it was just an easy night's work. It was like a man against a boy. Lyndon Arthur barely landed a glove on him. So the way I'm looking at this is Zinad, I really think he's just got to tuck in, conserve energy, and just throw big haymakers every now and then. Just try and land, like you say,
Yeah.
an uppercut or an overhand right. I don't think he's going to be landing many hooks, straights, jabs, anything like that. I think it's literally going to be a case of Deontay Wilder style almost. Just throw caution to the wind and just swing and hope for the best. Like I say, it sounds like we're almost doing an injustice to Malik Zinad, but I think it's a case of it's a compliment of how good Dmitry Bivol actually is. The levels, boxing, I say it all the time, it's you're alone in that ring. It's the one sport where levels are highlighted the most. When the levels are shown, you're so far apart. So I completely agree. I will ask you quickly a prediction on how the fight is going to end. I think we all realistically know what you're going to say, but we'll ask it anyway.
Yeah, it's a Bivol win. It's absolutely nailed on Bivol win. I would like to see him kind of push for a stoppage if the opportunity arises. I think this is the type of opponent he should be looking to push for a stoppage against. That was one kind of criticism people had against Lyndon Arthur, and he didn't really go for it. But I think he will win on points. He doesn't stop people. He widely outboxes them, and I think he'll do it here. And if Zinad took a round off Bivol, I'd be shocked. So I'm going to go for a 120, 108 win for Dmitry Bivol for me.
I completely agree. I'd love to see Bivol turn the style on and stop him. But I think against Lyndon Arthur, I think the criticism he got was completely unjust, unfair, harsh, every word you can think of. It was an easy night's work. He didn't need to stop him. He gets rounds in, he keeps in tip-top shape. Because what the way his team probably see it is he gets to show the levels and show how much better he is than these guys. What's the point in him going in? Knocking Lyndon Arthur out in a round, knocking Malik Zinad out in a round, because either way, it goes a distance. People say you should have stopped him. You stop him early, and everyone says, well, what was the point in that?
Yeah,
So I have to agree. And I genuinely think we could see more than one 10-8 round. I think we could be looking at three or four 10-8 rounds as well. So the 120, 108 could even be a bit wide. Sorry, a bit short, sorry, and not wide enough. But
yeah.
Niall, thank you for joining me. It's an interesting fight. Let us know in the comments below, guys. Is anyone going to have a quid on Malik Zinad at 33 to 1? Are they going to back the stoppage, which I've seen from anywhere between 45 to 60 to 1? If you are, let us know in the comments below. Um, Keep an eye out on all our fight week content, especially for the 5v5. Plenty of previews coming up, plenty of betting tip shows and big fight breakdowns. Niall, thank you once again for joining me on an interesting preview, and thank you once again.
Cheers. Take care.